Well, I had decided if I'm going to clean this up, I might as well take apart the transmissions and the knuckles and all that stuff. So I already started that. Took apart the rear gear case. There's about 6 screws that hold it together. So I already did that. I took the gears out. I'm going to clean the gears. So I already took the front knuckles apart. So it's those pieces there. So once I started doing that, I figured, yeah, you know what, I should film this. So anyway, so that's where I'm at right now. Gonna take these out, take the bearings out, because I just figured, you know what, this stuff is all gonna get wet in the ultrasonic cleaner, and if I don't dry it completely, it's just gonna get prone to get rust. So figure, well, let's just go ahead and start taking everything apart. So that's what I'm doing right now. Now it's not a good time to get lazy about it. Let's just do it right. I don't think I need to replace the bearings. They seem to work pretty well when I was spinning the axle around, but I'll check them out anyways, just in case. To take these out, this screws into that, and so I'm just popping these out like that. They kind of slide into each other, like so. There we go. I don't want to lose a little bearing, so I want to keep this intact. Got grease all over my hands, but that's a good thing. Okay. That was nicely greased up, that's for sure. And I can push these things out here. So that's what I'll do right now. There's one. So there's that side, and then here's the other side. So we'll get this case all cleaned up as well. So I think that's pretty much everything. Well, almost everything. We have this guy here. Get the bearings popped out. I already did the other one off camera prior to deciding I better film this. These bearings are dirty. I may have to replace them. They got a lot of dirt inside. So We'll have to check that out. Trying to find something to push them through. There we go. All right, so now I think we got everything apart that we need to tear apart. So now we're going to break out the ultrasonic cleaner and start pouring these parts in. We're not going to throw them all in at a time. I'm going to throw them in little pieces because all the parts and screws are all separated out. So I don't want to I guess I can always refer back to the manual, but I want to at least keep the screws intact. I'm going to be replacing all of the Phillips head screws though with socket pan head screws. So, but at least I don't have to go hunting for what size, going through the manual, what size screws they are. Although the manual for the Avante is pretty clean and concise. So, you know, you don't really necessarily have to worry about the screws and what goes where. The manual's pretty good, but for the sake of not having to keep referring to it, that's what I'm going to do, is try to keep all the screws together with the pieces they came from. So, ultrasonic cleaner, here we come. Okay, so I prepped some of these things. I put some of the plastic parts I'm going to be putting in the ultrasonic cleaner in plastic bags, and I'll show you why. But in essence, I'm going to be putting mean green solution in here. And the reason I have these in plastic bags is because then all the dirt will just end up in the bottom of the bag instead of at the bottom of the ultrasonic cleaner. So I'll show you how that works out. I know I've done it in previous videos. So we'll get to that next. But before I do, I wanted to show you how I'm going to clean these rod ends. I'm not going to put the rod ends in the ultrasonic cleaner. The reason being, some of this metal is not truly aluminum. It's like impurities in it. So if you put it in the ultrasonic cleaner and you put them in there too long, they get gray. And it's hard to take that gray out without using steel wool or sanding it down a little bit. So rather than do that, I figured I would use a wire brush. And I already started doing it on this guy here. And you can see the difference. That's what it looked like before, and that's what it looks like now with the wire brush. So I don't want to polish these up and make them all chromy. I want to maintain some semblance of the brushed aluminum look to them. So I'm just going to use the wire brush on these and not put them in the cleaner and not polish them. So we'll just do this one and you'll see the results. Okay. So you can see how nice and not ultra shiny, because like I said, you can make it ultra shiny if you want just by putting a rubbing compound on it, you know, chrome cleaner, what have you. But that's the look that I'm after, is that kind of brushed aluminum look. So you can see the difference. Let me get one of these other ones here. So you can see how kind of it looked before and how it looks now. So nothing except a wire brush. So that's what I'm going to do with the rest of these rod ends. And then we'll head over to the ultrasonic cleaner and clean the rest of the parts. Okay, so today we're ready to clean all of these parts. They're grimy. They're greasy. So I'm going to show you how I do it with the ultrasonic cleaner. I know I've showed this in other videos before, but since I'm going through the process anyways, I might as well film it. So I put these in plastic bags because I'm going to fill it with this mean green, and I'll dilute it with a little bit of water. That way the sediment, when it gets clean, just falls to the bottom of the bag and doesn't muck up the ultrasonic cleaner itself. So that's what we're going to do right now. So first things first, the first thing that I do is I heat up the water. So this water is already hot. I had already started it. So I'm going to put hot water instead of turning on the heater in here. It's not going to be in there for more than 5 minutes. So I'm just going to put the hot water in right away and mix the mean green solution with the water in the plastic bags. So that's what we're going to do right now. Now the trick is to make sure that all your parts are underneath the water or underneath the solution. And I could put multiple bags in here. There's enough room, but I'm just going to do one at a time. Why? Because I'm actually going to reuse the solution that's in this plastic bag once these are cleaned up. Because you can see I didn't dilute it a whole lot, so I used a lot of that simple green or that mean green, and then the stuff isn't exactly free. So what I'm doing right now is just making sure everything is underneath the solution. Okay, so now that that's in there, parts that are still sticking out, and just want to make sure that they're in there. Okay, so now you have to fill this thing up to the watermark line on here. Now, again, do that with hot water. Just a little bit more. Okay, that's up to the watermark. So now I'm gonna put this on for about 5 minutes. Helps if I turn it on right. So it's already set for 5 minutes right now. So the timer's already good to go. So just turned it on. So we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Okay, so we're nearing the end of 5 minutes here. There we go. So what I do then, I'm going to reuse the solution. So first thing I'm going to do, this, by the way, is a pickle tray. I use it to cure my 3D resin prints. The nice thing about it, it has this little basket, so you can dump everything in here, take it out, and it leaves the liquid behind. So I'm going to do now here. And if these parts weren't clean enough, I can put them in there for another few minutes, but I've got 3 little bags, so I'll just take a look at them individually as we take them out. So you can see that this is pretty grimy. So I'm pretty damn sure the parts got cleansed pretty well. So open up the ziploc here. I'm going to do this over the sink, so so you may not see it easily because I'm not moving the camera. Okay, so there are the parts. Take a look at a couple of them. So, you know, the grease isn't going to come out immediately at 5 minutes, but, you know, I can tell right now that the parts are really, really clean. We'll take a look at that metal plate. That was pretty grimy here. And it just needs just a little bit of finishing up on the cleanliness here, but for the most part, it did its job pretty well. I could easily leave it in there for another 5 minutes. It'll probably clean the rest of this off, but it's just as easy for me to just take an SOS pad and just finish it off myself. But all the plastic parts and everything are pretty darn clean. So pretty happy with that. Let's go on to the next one. So here's the next one that we're going to do here. Move the camera a little bit here so you can see what I'm doing. And the water's still pretty hot, pretty warm in there, so I think we can just leave it as is. And then we'll just fill this up. Okay. Do you need to seal the Ziploc bag? I don't think so. I mean, I just do it just to keep everything intact, but okay, make sure the water level is still good. This is underneath the water line. And here's another 5 minutes for you. Okay. So I'll do the other bag the same way, 5 minutes. I won't bore you with the rest of this. We'll go back to the bench and I'll lay out all the parts and see where we're at. So be back soon.